All right, Nick, so we found ourselves in a fairway bunker, pretty decent distance away from the green, about 120 yards. But what's the number one thing that we should be focusing on when our ball's in the bunker?
Number one thing to be focusing on when in the bunker is to make sure we get the ball out of the bunker, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a few conditions to take into account here. What is, number one on your priority list for figuring out what you have to do to get out of this bunker?
Number one thing to do is kind of make sure how high the lip of the bunker is, correct? Like kind of work on what would be the lip of the bunker.
So pretty sizable in this instance. What's what's the least amount of loft that you think you could clear this with?
I'd say maybe an 8-iron would be the least I could get out of it.
Yeah, that would be pretty tight, right? And now, distance-wise, 120 here in the fairway, that might be a sand iron for you.
Yeah.
So, what are some other keys that might be useful for you in a bunker, whether it be fairway or green side?
Useful keys for me when I'm in the bunker is kind of making sure that when I set up to the golf ball that I have my balance. I tend to kind of fall over or slide around a little bit.
Right, so
much.
you create a lot of speed with your swing, and when we get into an unstable surface, hitting the gas pedal might not be the best bet. So at this distance of 120, we don't have to full throttle that sand iron just because there's a lip in front of us. We've got a pitching wedge here that provides enough loft, comfortable opportunity to get this ball out, and yet you're not going to have to hit the gas so hard as the Santa. So as you're working your rehearsals, how are you going to dial down the throttle from what would maybe be 20 or 30 yards more capacity with this club to something well balanced here that clears the lip?
Yeah, so the way I kind of take speed off my swing is sort of slow down my tempo a little bit. It's just my natural tendency to kind of take something off. I know, getting out of a bunker, you gotta be careful with that. You want to make sure you kind of really accelerate at the bottom still. But so my tendency is to kind of shorten my swing a bit and then keep my same.
Right, so what we had talked about on the range is rather than varying tempo, which might be your first go-to in a past life, maybe working the size of the swing and maintaining that tempo, focusing on your balance, all those wonderful pieces, would be a better bet. So we had kind of 3 different sizes from hip high, shoulder high, and full. How much do you think this shot would require of your pitching wedge efforts? We had hip high, shoulder high, or full.
I would say just to try and make sure we can kind of get it there and over the lip, I would kind of go about shoulder height.
Right, so hip high might not cover the distance we need. Full swing, certainly more than what this distance is. So let's see you work through that couple rehearsals to nail down that size, and then we'll see if you can keep your balance. Feeling pretty good with that, so you're going to walk yourself in, make sure you get yourself a nice base at the ball, and send it with great tempo, balance, and plenty of loft here. We're in good shape.